This is Devleena, your host, welcoming you all to another exciting new episode of IBB. I'm happy to introduce our guest for today, Mr. Sayantan Dasgupta, who is the Director of Demand Generation at Grameener. He's a passionate and an award-winning demand generation professional with over 15 years of experience in leading marketing and inside sales teams to SMEs in North America and APAC markets. He's also a Forbes Council expert and has been regarded as a demand gen thought leader. Being the great grandson of Mr. Bipin Chandrapal, who was one of the freedom fighters of India and the father of revolutionary thoughts, Sayantan believes in supporting entrepreneurial ideas that are solving real business problems. Also, Sayantan is a professional guitarist and has worked with Grammy-winning music directors. A warm welcome to you, Sayantan.
Thank you so much, Devleena. Glad to be at your show. Thank you.
Yes, a multifaceted leader you are, Sayantan. There are so many things. Starting from music to venture capitalist. So, over 15 years of experience in the field of marketing, venture capital, demand gen, plus music. So, tell us more about your journey and about your background. Would love to know about that, Sayantan.
Sure. So, Devleena, I pretty much got my feet in the music business industry. I held various roles during those days, right? Thereon, I more of a ventured into more of an entrepreneurial journey where I set up my own studio and, we did well. But, in a country like India, making a living out of music is tough, right? So I switched industries and, I did my international business from London, Oxford, and then, and that helped. So I ventured into more of a venture capital firm. So, I got to one of the leading venture capital firms based out of Hong Kong, and I joined them as a corporate communications manager. So there, Devleena, I was handling about 12 portfolio companies, and they had a accelerator here in Gurgaon. So I was based out of Gurgaon itself, and the learning curve was very immense. And to get into a venture capital firm and you working on the other side of the table, it's like a big deal. So the learning was immense. I understood, investments. I understood product marketing. I understood P&L management and everything in between. There was so much of hustle, right? So I kind of spent roughly about a little less than 2 years there in that Hong Kong-based firm. And then, over time, I moved on to a US-based venture capital firm. So there I joined as an AVP, and eventually I climbed up the ladder to become a VP of the firm. And then gradually, in the course of time, I also became a partner of the fund. So it was immense hustle, learning, and everything in between. So we were providing more like an accelerator as a service kind of a model to all the portfolio companies, right? So roughly I spent about 5 years of my time in the venture capital industry, and most of these companies that were under these portfolios were mostly technology companies, right? Pretty much about 5, 7, 8, $10 million kind of ARR kind of a revenue they were at, right? So Devleena, from there on, I became a VP of marketing for a ERP-based company, and they were headquartered out of Chicago. But office here in Gurgaon. So I was based out of Gurgaon, and I was handling the global marketing for that firm, right? So I had a good stint there, and then finally I understood that the world is going towards product companies, and that's where I found my calling as well, right? Eventually, back in 2020, I joined Grameener as the director of demand gen, and we started off small. Like when I joined, it was like a 5-6 member team, and today we are like an 18-member team over the course of time. So yes, like I brought in a lot of strategic directions to like Graviner's demand gen function, and then we grew exponentially, right? So yeah, I mean, sum it up, like, I like working for growth-based companies, and yeah, and when I'm not working, I'm making music. So yeah, that's pretty much my story.
Super, super. Amazing to know, Shantan. I mean, in this short span of time, the kind of growth and the kind of industry experience which you have, and as you mentioned about the hustle and all, without an hustle, it's really not possible. So hustle is like in terms of the action, not just here. So that is one thing I always tell my people, that do not hustle here, just hustle in terms of the actions, and that is what is going to take you from one place to another place, right? So there is
Totally.
no cut to success.
Totally.
For our viewers' benefit, for our listeners' benefit, let us know what is demand generation is, and what is the purpose of it.
Okay. So interesting question. So the way I look at it is like, anything that you or your company does to get a prospect interested in knowing about your product or services can be termed as like demand generation, right? I mean, a lot of marketers have their own definition. I mean, to each their own, right? Like no one is like a marketing guru. Honestly, like every day it's changing. So I mean, like the way I see it is like, marketing and inside sales together, right, can be termed as like a demand generation team. On one hand, there is this marketing team, which I call it like the inbound demand generation. And in the other hand, is this inside sales team, which I call it like a outbound demand generation, right? To sum it up, demand generation is basically an amalgamation of both marketing and inside sales. So you need to know what you're selling, right? And you need to have your story right. That's when it's demand generation, right? You asked me about the purpose of it, right? See, a lot of marketers say that demand generation is to get leads, which is a remarkable statement. I mean, but somehow I disagree, honestly. See, the purpose of demand generation, and this is my own definition, and some will say yes, some will say no, but this is what I feel, what I believe, right? So the purpose of demand generation is to drive interest in your product or services, right? So it's a discipline, basically. Devleena is a discipline, right? So the channels can be many, but at the end of the day, it's about educating your prospects and your customers. The idea is not to force a sale to happen. Like, you just can't say like, hey, here's my iPhone, you just buy it, right? No, you have to get the interest of the prospect to buy that iPhone from you, right? See, rather, instead of forcing a sale to happen, rather you become a category leader, and leads will come to you automatically. It's like, end of the day, it's like putting a torch on them rather than on yourself. That is my definition.
Superb. That's a great way of thinking, Shantan. Like, I mean, instead of just selling myself or selling my product and services, it's about, see, this is how it is, and this is how it is going to help you, and this is how you get the leads and prospects, right? So
Totally.
a question was actually running in my mind also, if you just elaborate on this, Shantan, that how demand generation is different from lead generation. We talk about lead generation a lot, right, in the sales process. And what is unique about demand generation in the B2B SaaS space? If you just, throw light on that part also.
Very different, I would say, and it's not one and the same. Many sales and marketing leaders and upcoming marketers, they feel that demand generation is just marketing or demand generation is just sales, right? Well, it's not. You can use many tools and resources to reach the same goal. While there is a place for lead generation, the way I would define it as it focuses more on selling, lead generation, right? Uh, well, I'll just quickly give an example. Like, if you put up an ad out there and it has a CTA like schedule a demo. So now a person sees your ad and, clicks on the CTA, goes to your landing page, fills up a form, and it becomes a lead for you, right? And then, you follow up on a meeting and, try to make a sale happen, right? But demand generation is very different. It's not like the end purpose of it is, yes, for a sale to happen, but the methodology or the way forward is different. By that, you do an ad, but it's a consumption ad. It's like just for learning purpose. You put up an ad out there and you say like, Gramenet does A, B, C, D, right? And you educate your customers, right? If this connects with you, first understand what we're talking about. First understand the study that we're talking about. First understand what we have to offer. If this is of interest to you, then you reach out to us. So, that's more like the difference between lead gen and demand gen. Well, lead gen is like the intent is to make a sale happen like right away. Demand generation is like gain the interest of the prospect, the customer, and then understand the needs and then solve a problem and make a sale happen. Always do 360 marketing, always do 360 kind of. So if you're rolling out a campaign, support, like if you're rolling out like a email campaign, right? Support it with like a LinkedIn ad, support it with like a Facebook knowledge kind of consumption ad, support with the in-mail kind of a campaign. That kind of maximizes your exposure of your brand, right? That kind of exposes that maximizes the exposure of your products and services, right? There are many important matrices when you are doing demand generation. You have to stop measuring the fluff. Like only measure like what's important, right? Like just try to measure like things which are very important to you, and not like how many clicks happened, what was the open rate, blah blah blah. Rather, just focus on how many meetings did you get, how many people like understood the case study and downloaded it and took a further action, right? So while you're doing that, there's always room to do A/B kind of testing, but however, have immediate targets and go and win it, right? Don't do like very long-term kind of marketing plans, and don't do like a 90-day marketing plans and stuff like that. So see, pandemic hit us. What happened to 90-day plan? It all went down the drain, right? So my advice to marketers and my team, always I believe in short-term plans, like 1 month out. What are you doing 1 month out, right? That is 1 month out. It's not on my priority list. I have like managers and senior managers to handle that, right? So focus on what's important, right? And hence, as I told you, lead gen is like more like a short-term goal. Demand gen is more like a long-term goal.
Right. No, that's a great way to differentiate and to know about this particular term, that lead gen is something which is very, in a layman's term, it's just like, you need to get the prospects information, and that is how you have to put the process. It's outbound thing. But the demand generation is something which is a process to reach to the prospects, and the prospect has to be interested on you, and that is how you understand. It is almost they are coming. It's kind of inbound later on, right? So it's a great tool, I feel, But yeah, of course, it needs a lot of thought process to find it out in that way. So we will talk more about that, Sayantan, from you. I would love to know about the marketing strategy. As a marketing strategy expert, if you can help us with 3 actionable tips that can help in creating awesome marketing campaign, because here we have audiences from the marketing fraternity, from the B schools, the aspiring marketers. So this is going to help a lot to them.
Advice number 1, first question yourself, like, do you really know what you're selling? do you really understand what your purpose of selling is, right? At times I see a lot of like marketing experts and leaders and even like managers, they don't even know what they're selling. Just because the company wants to sell something, they're selling it, they do not have the passion to sell it. My question to them is, are you confident enough to talk about it? If yes, congratulations, that's your first advice. You will likely make that sale happen, and likely your campaign will be awesome. So that's tip number one: know what you're selling very well, inside out, right? Number 2 point: demographics. Demographics is very important, Devleena. You can't be sending a same campaign to like a VP, a director, like a CXO title, the one which you had sent to like a managerial title, because they think differently, right? That is why there is a difference. They are a manager and someone is a director, right? Someone is a VP, right? So you have to understand what your audience will resonate with. You have to know the persona very well in order to kind of make the message very well. So know your demographics very fluently. So that's advice number 2. Advice number 3, I'll just come back to like more of a campaign strategy itself. I always say my team that cut your darlings, get to the point. You don't want to let them know who you are and why your product is excellent. See, the end goal is that, of course, just cut the chase and cut the noise and just get to the point. It's like, you create like a FOMO kind of situation, right? Give examples of who you sold your product to and how did they benefit from, right? Like make them feel like, a company like them is already using the products and services and they're winning, right? So it's like, in other words, Devleena, it's like saying your brothers and sisters are in the party and you're missing out. So, that creates like a real sense of urgency to know your products and services. So that's tip number 3. I think so. These 3 tips will help people design better campaigns. Yeah.
True. So I think there is nothing like that defining your target customer in a very precise way. As you said, like the demographics has to be in a right way. Otherwise, there is no point how good you are selling, how good your product and services, and how good you are marketing it. But identifying your own target customer is the first basic step. So thank you for throwing some light on these very precise points, Sayantan. And with that, I would like to ask you on how, as we move forward towards the future of marketing. So how does the future of marketing looks like?
To me, future belongs to those who are up to date in the present. Trust me. I always say gather as much as knowledge as you can, indulge yourself in different forums, indulge yourself listening to different podcasts, webinars, etc. Always keep your eyes and ears open, right? Of course, like, with the change of time, a lot of things, from doing it manually, from doing it in Excel, it has become like a CRM and data science and strategy and whatnot. But the crux of it is like indulge yourself in as much as knowledge as you can gather, and your future will be strong. We all are modern marketers, so we can't think like I'll put up a billboard banner out there and spend like a few $1 million in the billboard and magically get like 500 leads. That's not the world right now, right? It's like pandemic hit us and we all went digital, right? So keep an eye on what's happening around you, gather as much as knowledge as you can, and trust me, your future will be bright.
Right, that's so true, Sayantan. I mean, there is no certain set formula for marketing. So it's always an intelligent way to look around you, to understand and sense the vibes of the market and sense the mood of your target customer, and that is how keep yourself agile and flexible enough to respond back to the situation any point of time. As you said, overnight, all the marketing strategies, we had to change each and everything, right? Nothing in place. So it's very, very important to keep the agility in our mind first, and that is how, we can respond it better, right? So,
Totally.
Sayantan, I would love to know about the organization also. For an organization like Grameener, what role does demand generation play at the growth stage of its life cycle?
Sure. So about the organization, Grameener, it's like a 12, 13-year-old data science and analytics company. We are an award-winning boutique organization, right? And we have 6 offices worldwide, with 2 being in India, Bangalore and Hyderabad. And we have our headquarters in New Jersey, Princeton, New Jersey in the US. We have an office in Dubai, we have an office in Switzerland, we have an office in Canada. And, we are expanding, right? So very happy to be a part of the Grameener team. Now, to come to your question, what role does demand gen play in the growth of its life cycle? I will give you a very very generic answer to it. So demand generation is just not restricted to just Grameener. It can be applied to any B2B, B2C, D2C, you name it. Demand generation team is very crucial. They are like the front office of your company. At the end of the day, they are the ones who are bringing business to the table. They are the ones who are keeping your website alive. They are the ones who are constantly communicating on social, right? Some things to track. If I saw some post on the social media, and then tomorrow I suddenly remember, okay, Grameener, and I do like a Google search and I come to your website, right? Would you be able to attribute that to the first touch point? Because first touch point, you saw it on the social media. So there is no tool that can track that entire, first touch point, right? So see, end of the day, demand generation team is always like putting stuff out there, for people to learn, understand, digest, and then come to you. We are also empowering the sales organization, right? So we are helping them with sales enablement, collaterals. We are helping them with setting up meetings, taking the deal forward. And we are pretty much doing it all. Trust me, it's not that fancy. Demand generation is not fancy. It's like a lot of toiling upwards at night to make things happen. And for Grameener, it's very crucial part of our business and messaging. So, and that should be the same for any other company in the ecosystem, right?
Mm-hmm. Super. So amazing to know about this term demand generation, Shantan. It is such a crucial thing for any organization, any business function, to move forward to the sales process, from marketing to sales process, right?
Mm-hmm.
With that, Shantan, now we are moving to a very interesting section, which is a rapid fire round, where you need to answer in one word or maybe in one sentence, right? So, and this always gives an opportunity to know you as a person better for the audience. Okay, it's about Shantan as a person. Yeah. So, what is leadership for you?
If one person looks up to you, you are a friend or a mentor. If more than one person looks up to you, you are a leader. See, titles don't make you a leader. It's like your traits. It has to be like the people that trust you. You have to have it in you to become a leader. So that's my definition of leadership.
Super. It's always in the mind of people that once I become this, then I will be called as a leader. But the leadership is a trait. It's a quality. It can be found in a child as well. So I think that is a wonderful way to express what is leadership. What is a book you're planning to read?
I'm not much of a reader, but I am more of a listener, so I'm like an audiophile versus reader. But, I'm trying to complete this book called Measure What Matters by John Doerr. So that's
Wow, that sounds amazing, like Measure What Matters. So who has been the greatest influence to you?
It's not a specific person. I would say life has been my greatest influencer.
Right.
I mean,
Life is the greatest teacher also. Like, I mean, time to time, it has its own way to teach us and shape us and guide us, right?
totally, totally.
So, if not a brand marketer, what would you be?
This is a no-brainer. I would be playing to 100,000 people, some rock and some blues music right now.
Super.
After all, I've been a musician for over 20 years now. Yeah. So
Awesome. What's the best thing that has happened to you this year? I mean, the last year.
okay, so I was planning to hit the gym for a very long time. It was due, and finally I feel stronger and better today. And in fact, I have reduced 7 kgs of weight
Wow.
in the last 2 months. Yeah, so
Amazing.
I'm better. Yeah.
I think nothing better than, moving towards the health goal. And that is something, it makes you feel so amazing. More than, everybody else, you feel amazing about yourself. And that's how people around you also feel inspired and happy about that amazing goal.
Totally, Devleena.
When are you most inspired?
Usually after midnight, when I'm making music, and I always bring that creative juice back to, yeah.
So the musician inside you, that actually, the creativity comes right after that, right?
Even in corporate, even in music, there is a very similarity. I'll tell you why. See, when you're a musician, you're trying to make your audience happy. You're trying to get applause from your audience. Similar thing, even in the corporate, you're trying to make your audience happy, your customers happy. So it's not the same.
Right. That's a great, connection, Sayantan, just to understand, no matter what you're doing, ultimately you have to make your, product, service, or any piece of art. This is an art, and you have to make it creative and you have to make it lovable, right? That's how your audience is going to love it. Okay.
Sure.
So early in the morning or late in the night?
So, rock stars always toil upwards at night. So I'm a night person. Yeah.
Yes, no wonders. I guess that. What's the best compliment you have ever received?
I often hear stuff like, "Thank you for inspiring me," and I feel good about it.
Super. Yeah, nothing like that. We do things for us, but silently many people, without even telling you, inspire many people around you, and that's a different level of satisfaction end of the day.
Totally.
What does creativity means to you?
You either have it or you don't have it. Some things can be learned with practice. Creativity is something that should be in your DNA. There is no gray area.
True. I completely agree that part, Shantan. Creativity is something which is a gift. If you have it, you just have it. Yeah, what you said, right? True. What is an important life lesson for someone to learn?
I believe in recreating with what you already have. So there is a Japanese kintsugi pottery technique. When something breaks, you glue it together with melted gold instead of throwing it away. And you make it beautiful, and you celebrate the object's history, right? And what it has been through. So always work on what you have. Don't discard things in your life. Don't discard people in your life, right? Rather, try to make it happen with whatever you have right now. That's a blessing.
That was very inspiring line, Shantin. We often have that connection that, okay, something is not working, just get another one. But the technique which you just shared, the way Japanese, they celebrate the imperfections, they just appreciate the imperfections. So I think life is also about how we embrace the imperfections and how we appreciate that. And as we all know, perfection is a myth, but the way we are taking the imperfections, learning and going ahead, that is again a blessings, right? So with that, we are out of the rapid fire round. Shantan, thank you for all the inspiring answers and on point answers. And before we wind up, I want you to inspire our listeners and inspire our viewers also. What is your message for the aspiring market leaders. There are a lot of B school students and aspiring marketers. They are our viewers here.
Sure. I'll leave you with 3 tips, right? A, uh, focus on educating your customers. I always say that, and I repeat myself, right? The rest will follow. B, when you are a leader, when you are a marketer, when you are a manager, you should stop measuring the fluff. Wittily say, fluff is only good on sandwiches. My sandwich is very fluffy, right? Measure what's important. I'm a fan of OKR. The book that I talked about, Measure What Matters by John Brewer, it's all about OKRs and limiting yourself to only 3 or 4 KPIs. So once you implement that OKR model with your team, everyone knows what they have to do, and they do it very well. And you only measure like A, B, C, done, right? And you do it well. Number 3, network as much as you can. Read what others are saying out there. You can bring a lot of these best practices and implement within your teams. I learn a lot, I write a lot, and it helps me and my team grow as well. So always bring best practices in the industry back to your teams. So that's my 3 tips.
Amazing, Sayantan. And my takeaway is measure what matters. So, I'm going to read that book for sure. As a team leader, as an entrepreneur, I understand it very well. I mean, how important it is to make your team comfortable with clarity. What exactly it matters, right? So that is my next read. Thank you for all your time and insightful conversation and bringing so much light on the terms. Demand generation is such a hot topic, and it's a important topic to learn, to know, and to implement for sure. Because again, as a marketer, as a business professional, we all need to we need to automate certain business functions so that our teams are working effectively, and that is how we eventually leads to the success, what we call, right? Thank you for your time, Sayantan. It was wonderful talking to you. Very precise, very on point conversation, but yes, inspiring, of course.
Thank you so much, Devleena, for having me. I appreciate that.